What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Sports Prodigies with your hosts. I'm Aiden,
Boggle.
and today we'll be talking about UFC 249 and what we thought about it. But first, before we get started, we want everybody to go like and subscribe this video. It'd be a really big help to the podcast. And we also want to welcome our special guest, Gilly. Say what's up.
What's up, boys? How's it going?
We're good. How are you?
Good. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me on.
Of course. We're going to go from bottom to top throughout UFC 249. So the first fight was Span v. Alvey. So, Gil, you want to get started?
Yeah, pretty good fight overall. I think Span definitely deserved it. If I can remember rightly, the judges gave it a split decision, but it could have gone three to nothing. I think on that one, Alvey might have gone the last round, but yeah, overall good decision. As much as I do like Alvey, he didn't really put enough in there to win the fight. So
yeah, Swoggle, you want to go?
Yeah, so Span's like a top prospect in the light heavyweight division. Sam Alvey is declining or is declining old, but basically Span kept his distance, landed his strikes with longer range in the first two rounds. He even had that arm triangle choke locked in. I thought Alvey was going to tap at one point. You know, you don't really see standing arm triangle chokes. But then in the third round, you saw Alvey start pushing the pace towards the end, and yeah, I think he probably stole the third round. I was a little shocked that it was a split decision, but definitely the right call.
Yeah, I agree with both you said. What both of you just said. I think it personally should have been a unanimous decision, but I understand that Alvey did come back a little bit in the third, but I don't really think it was like worth enough to give him a round. But personally, I thought Span controlled this fight. I thought Span was gonna, like you said, Alvey's face was bright red during that standing triangle choke. I thought Span was gonna end it in the first round, but it went all three, and Span, I think, just controlled the fight. So the next fight was Mitchell v. Rosa. Swoggle, you want to start?
Yeah, Bryce Mitchell impressed the heck out of me last night. I had Rosa winning. They're both very good on the ground, but Mitchell was just at a whole nother level. The fact that Rosa didn't tap is really impressive to me. Mitchell almost got another twister, which he won his fight before by twister, which you just don't see. It was the second one in UFC history. He controlled the whole fight on the ground, didn't let Rosa back up, got him in numerous submissions. So shocked he didn't tap, but I really think Mitchell can be a force in the featherweight division.
Gil, you want to add on to that? Okay, I thought it was a great fight personally. I think Mitchell controlled the fight throughout. Like you said, he had him in many submissions, and I was told that Rosa was going to the ground, but obviously Mitchell was better, and Mitchell controlled the fight, just took him down all three rounds, was putting him throughout submissions. I was surprised Rosa made it all three rounds, but it was an easy decision for me that Mitchell won. He really controlled the fight. So the next fight was Luque v. Price. Swoggle, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so I was a little disappointed, honestly. I thought Luque was going to do better. I really like him. I think he's one of the more underrated fighters, but Price was bringing the fight to him. And Price brought it to him, and I was a little shocked that Luque, he was a little receptive last night. He didn't really go back at him like I'm used to. He still had the precision, but he still got the finish, and he still won the fight. I just thought he usually performs a little better. I think he was a little off his game last night.
Yeah, Luque finished the fight with a TKO in the third round. Price's face was messed up. I've seen some pictures this morning. His face looked really bad. They were both having huge shots. Both guys were throwing haymakers. I liked Luque. He had good calf kicks, I thought, throughout the fight. And I thought it was a great fight overall, but obviously Luque ended it in the third round. So, Gilly, are you back?
yeah, can you hear me? Okay, I don't know what happened there. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we're on the Luque Price fight right now. So do you want to put some input on that?
Yeah, I think deserved win by Luque. He really, really impressed me in this past couple of fights. He looks like real decent striker. Thought it was a good fight. Price they were just swinging for for the hills at one point, and his face was a mess at the end. But yeah, deserved victory for Luque, I think, in that one.
Yeah. The next fight was Esparza v. Watterson. I really thought there was no big action. I thought this fight was boring overall, and I think you could have given it to either girl. I don't really think it was a great fight. I would pick this as the worst fight in the card, but Esparza won on split decision. So, do you guys have anything else to say?
Yeah, I mean, coming into this fight, I wasn't really expecting much action, but this was a snoozer. But both girls really didn't do anything. So I thought Watterson won, but either one could have gotten it, and Esparza ended up getting it.
Gilly, what do you think? Okay, we're having a little technical difficulties with Gilly, but he'll keep coming in and out. The next fight was Oleinik Verdum. Swallow, you want to start on that?
You can start.
Okay, yeah. So I like the big right hand by Oleinik early. Oleinik had some pretty big shots. I gave Verdum round 2 though. And I thought Verdum was actually going to win this fight because in the third round he took down Oleinik and Verdum was trying for an arm bar in the end. But this was I really like this fight. I thought it was a good fight. I think it could have went to either guy. I think Verdum knew that he was going to lose if he didn't pick up in the third round. I thought he did a good job in it, but obviously the judges thought different. But I would have given this fight to Verdum. What do you think, Swallow?
Yeah, so Verdum hasn't fought in 2 years, and it definitely showed at the beginning of the fight. Oleinik is a ground guy. He's really not a striker, so to get battered like that, for Verdum to be battered by Oleinik like that shows that he just had a little cage rust and he needed to readjust. And he started to find his footing again towards the middle of the second round, and I really can't argue with the decision though.
Okay, I think we got Gilly back. Gilly, you want to talk about the Oleinik Verdum fight?
Yeah, can you hear me again? I keep coming in
Yeah,
and
we
out.
can hear you.
Sweet, okay. Basically, again, same as what Swoggle said, you could really tell at the start of the fight that Verdum had been out for a couple of years. He hadn't fought for a while. He started off really slow and just didn't look like he knew where he was. He was getting caught with some big hits, but took him. Came into it towards the middle of the fight and actually thought he won the second and the last round. I would have gone for Doom myself, but you can't really argue. It was a fairly good fight. Another big slugfest, but yeah, it could have gone either way for me. So I did have a Doom.
And the last fight of the prelims was Donald Cowboy Cerrone versus Anthony Pettis.
I'll
This
start
was
us
their
off.
second matchup. I know, Swoggle, you have a lot of feelings on this, so I'll let you start.
Yeah, so, well, one, as you guys know from the last podcast, Donald Cerrone is one of my favorite fighters. Top 2. He was 1A, 1B, but after Francis's performance last night, I think Francis moves into the one spot alone. But anyways, I think Donald got robbed here. I really thought he won the fight. I thought he was the better striker, and to put it on top, he also added in the wrestling. I was very shocked that he didn't win he didn't get the call. I'm very disappointed.
Gilly,
you want to talk about it a little bit?
Yeah, I feel exactly the same as you, Swags. I thought he deserved to win last night. When they said Pettis, I was like, excuse me, what's going on here? Do you remember what the scorecard was? I can't remember off the top of my head.
It was unanimous in Pettis' way. I know that.
Yeah,
it wasn't split.
Definitely
I can't give you numbers.
Yeah, weird that was unanimous because Cerrone, I think, definitely deserved to. For me, it was 2-1 to Cerrone, but I don't know how all 3 judges gave it unanimous to Pettis. It was a bit of a weird one. Definitely got robbed in that one, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think Cowboy was robbed as well. I agree with both of you guys. I didn't like how Pettis poked Cowboy in the eye, and they didn't really acknowledge it a lot. He said it was a punch, but as replay showed, it was really a poke. But I agree with what both of you guys said. I can't really say more. So the first fight of the pay-per-view was Hardy v. DeCastro. Gilly, you could get started.
Yeah, it was well. It started off. De Castro was having a lot of joy with the leg kicks. Hardy just didn't seem to know what to do with them. And then I think during the break of the first round, DC mentioned that he needs to start checking the leg kicks, and because because there was no crowd there, in the post-fight interview, he was actually said, "Oh, I heard what DC said." Started checking the leg kicks, and then started getting a hell of a lot of joy in the second and the third round, and deservedly won it in the end. But yeah, it was mad that having no crowd there, they'd been able to hear everything that they said, and it was
Yeah.
obviously a massive advantage for Hardy to hear what DC was picking up on, and put it into practice, and ended up winning the fight because of it. So
Yeah, I don't think there's a much better guy to hear than DC.
yeah,
But as I get into this, I didn't really like the fight. I thought Hardy was going to come in and knock him out in the first round, but I felt like Hardy was he was like too far. Like he wasn't really connecting on any of his punches. I felt like he needed to move up like a step or two to actually connect.
Well, in my opinion, I don't think Hardy knows how to fight.
Yeah,
And
I think this fight showed his
and
inexperience.
and it really showed in this fight. Once he finally started checking the kick and hurt De Castro's toe,
did he break his foot?
I think he broke his toe.
Yeah, which completely changed the fight. But he's throwing his punches, and they're all reaches. One, he has the better. He's the longer reach, so it shouldn't be hard for him to be connecting when he has I think it was like an 8-inch reach advantage on De Castro, but it looked like De Castro was the one getting inside to him, which I just don't understand when you got an 8-inch reach advantage. And then in the third round, De Castro slipped and couldn't get back up, and I really think Hardy should have taken advantage of that on the ground, because in his last fight, his last win, he finished the fight on the ground on strike. So to get him to stand back up when you're really not doing anything on the feet was a little shocking to me.
I'm not really not a fan of Hardy. I don't know what it is about him. I just don't. Yeah, I think he's got a bit lucky the past couple of fights, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think he just needs experience under his belt, and it shows that he's unexperienced, and I think he just needs more time to develop as a fighter. Next fight was Stevens v. Cater. Swall, we want to get started on this one?
Yeah, sure. So I picked Stevens to win the fight, and after the first round, I was really confident in him winning the fight. He really controlled the first round. He landed the more shots. I think Cater got him good once, but other than that, in the first round, Stevens really controlled the pace, controlled the tempo, and was the one landing the shots. Then the second round came along, and Cater started to open up. And then that perfectly timed elbow came, and Stevens went out. And, I mean, I knew Cater was good, but I think I underrated him a little bit, to be honest with you. I think he has a chance to fight and be a contender in this division.
Gil, you want to go?
Yeah, pretty much same as what Swog was saying for the majority of these. I was looking forward to seeing Stevens fight. Always looking forward to seeing him fight. But like Swog said, started off well and then just got caught with a nasty elbow, dropped him, and that was it. Game over, basically. Not really seen too much of Cater, but I've been back through a couple of his fights today. It looks really pretty good, to be fair. So yeah, he's definitely a prospect for the division.
Yeah, Cater caught Stevens with that nasty elbow, and Stevens left with a nice gash on his head. But it was a very bloody finish, and I really liked the fight. Okay, so now we got Swoggle's favorite fighter, Francis Ngannou versus Rosenstrike. So Swoggle, I know you obviously want to get started, so I'll give this one to you.
I'm not going to tell the story of me seeing him in his first fight again, but what a hell of a fight this guy put on. I mean, the guy's a beast. He blitzed him, landed one punch, and it looked like Rosenstrike died. I mean, Ngannou destroyed him. There's really nothing else to say about it.
Yeah, there's nothing else to say. I just think it's personally funny how Rosenstrike called this guy out. And Francis Ngannou's a great fighter. And after that performance, he may be one of my favorite fighters. Guy's a beast.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
he's a monster. He's Francis.
absolute animal, man. It's mad because the first 5 seconds of the fight, I thought, oh, okay, he's leading off with some kicks here. This could be a bit of a tactical fight. And then it got to like 10 seconds still, and then Ngannou was like, "Nah, stack this off," and just swung, clipped him clean as, sat him up against the fence, and the guy was out. I thought he'd killed him at one point, but it was an. And then he
Yeah,
carried on
I thought
throwing
he was
fights when he
dead.
was on the
I mean,
floor. I was like, oh mate,
he knocked him out with the first punch that he landed,
yeah.
and then landed like 4 after.
Yeah, there was one punch that he just missed as well when he was sat up against the fence, and if he'd have connected with that, his head was gone, man. He was out. Well, he was already out, but yeah, hell of a fighter.
Yeah, I think that was the best fight. It was my favorite fight just because it was like 20 seconds and it was just entertaining.
What do you think is going to happen with that league, with that division now, with DC and obviously Stipe? Because Ngannou shouldn't really have to fight anyone below him to
Yeah,
keep
I
himself
mean,
fresh.
after that fight, the UFC is definitely going to give him a title fight. And honestly, it kind of sounds like Dana White's angry with Stipe. So I wouldn't be shocked if Stipe continues to not fight during the pandemic and he gets stripped.
Yeah,
I mean, because they've been feuding a little bit. So, I mean, if I'm Ngannou, I don't take any fight if I'm the title fight. And honestly, after that, I think Dana White wants him to be the champion. So,
yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so the second to last fight was Cejudo versus Cruz. So I'm gonna start on this one. So obviously it got very entertaining when they butted heads. Cejudo was bleeding pretty bad, and then he came out. I think there's 22 seconds left. Hit him with a nasty knee, and Cejudo pretty much was just hitting him. I thought Cruz was trying to get up. I personally think the ref called this one a little too early.
yeah, it definitely, I think, was an early stoppage. I mean, Cejudo knocked him down with the knee. It looked like he was going to finish him, but then Cruz started working his way back up. I thought it was a little early.
Yeah, and also when Cruz was saying post fight, just how like he told the ref like don't call it unless like I'm like dead. Like
Yeah, but at the end of the day, the ref's there to protect the fighter. So
yeah,
Yeah,
obviously.
exactly. Yeah, I don't know what it is with Cruz in his last fight against Garbrandt. He started off well and he was real technical, and then I think something just switches and he just started throwing and not really thinking about what he was doing, and he got caught against Garbrandt a couple of times, and he did the exact same thing last night with Cejudo as well. It just I don't know what happened. It was just he's doing well, and then all of a sudden just started swinging a couple and got clipped with a nasty knee. I don't think he was out. He definitely rocked, massively rocked, and if he'd have landed another 2 or 3 shots on the floor, then he would have definitely been out. But he was getting up a little bit early. But like you say, refs got to protect the fighters. They're not just going to go, oh yeah, you told me to leave you until you're dead. I'll just let you get knocked out again. But yeah, really, I don't know what's going on with Zahiro either. If he's going to retire or if it's just contract negotiations or what that was about afterwards.
Yeah, so I wanted to get into that before we got to the main event. So 33 years old, Cejudo said he now has a girl. He wants to start a family. He's retiring from the sport. I wanted to know what you guys thought.
all right, well, one, most people don't like Cejudo, but I actually kind of like him. But I mean, I don't blame if it is really a genuine retirement. I can see why. He's a two division champ in the UFC, gold medalist. I mean, he's one of the most decorated just combat fighters in ever. So I understand where he wants to go out on top, and I understand that if it actually is genuine. But for some reason, I just don't feel like it is.
Yeah, I thought what he did last night, though, it was like a class act. Like, he wasn't rude about it. He thanked Dana White. He thanked everybody. I think he's the second ever fighter to defend 2 different belts, besides Cormier. But I don't know if it's real or not. I thought it was like class how he went out. We'll see in the future what he does. But like you said, Swoggle, he is one of the most decorated fighters. And the main event Ferguson v. Gaethje. Swoggle, you want to start with that?
Yeah, I'm very shocked Tony Ferguson lost. Gaethje was a great fighter, but this is the best he's ever looked. I mean, he really put the pace on the Ferguson, had the cardio to keep up with Ferguson, and landed the bigger and the better shots. I kept waiting for that. Usually Tony starts off a little slower, and then he just starts picking you apart, and I kept waiting for that moment to come, and it just didn't happen. Gaethje kept coming forward and kept hitting his shots. I was shocked.
Gilly, you want to go?
Yeah, to be honest, I was a little bit disappointed when this fight was announced, because obviously then if Ferguson lost like he did, then it was game over for Ferguson Khabib, well, until at least later on down the line. But if he was good enough to beat Gaethje, then obviously Khabib's still going to be there. And Gaethje just, I don't know what, he could have knocked him out so many times last night. Only Ferguson could take those punches. He was absolutely destroyed in some of those rounds, and yet he kept coming after him, kept chasing him down. Right stoppage at the end definitely needed to be called, because he
100%.
He looked drunk.
100%. Yeah, they made a right call.
He didn't know where he was. Gaethje fully deserved. Looking forward to the fight against Khabib, because I think he's obviously a brilliant wrestler. And with the power that he's got in those fists now, he could really give Khabib a good fight. So actually looking forward to seeing that one, if it does materialize. When it will happen, I don't know, with Khabib being has he gone back to Russia or Dagestan or wherever he is?
I'm not sure. I think his excuse right now is about Ramadan.
Yeah,
and he wants Ramadan to be done. So I think it would occur in the summer.
Yes,
he would fight. But it's like a good reason why not to fight. I don't think he's eating all day. You can't fight on those conditions, and obviously, he's sticking with Ramadan, and that's important. So he can't fight. So I understand what's happening, but I just think that Gaethje exposed Ferguson, and I understand Ferguson was trying to say that he was training for Khabib and he was training, and then he gets put with Gaethje. But that's not a good excuse, because Gaethje probably was training for Ferguson as long as Ferguson was training for Gaethje.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't think that was really a good argument. Like, obviously he got exposed. I feel like
he got beat. There's really nothing else to
say. Yeah. He just got outclassed last night. Gaethje was by far the better fighter. Picked him apart, stuck to his game plan, didn't do anything stupid, and just completely dominated him from start to finish.
So one last question before we end out. Do you guys think that Gaethje will now go against Khabib, or you think Gaethje could fight a guy possibly like Conor McGregor?
No, 100% is going to be Khabib. He's the interim title. Khabib has the title. That's the fight.
Yeah, Khabib 1,000,000%. McGregor will probably get someone else in the division and then get a crack at the winner of those two. But
McGregor Ferguson.
Yeah, that probably would be the fight to make. McGregor Ferguson, Khabib against Gaethje, and then winner. Yeah, it makes sense. So keeps him more active as well.
Yeah, so a lot to look forward to, and we're happy that at least the UFC is still doing live events, and it was great to see last night. 2 more coming up as well, boy.
Yep.
So we'll be back on Friday to talk about it. We'll talk about Wednesday on Friday. So Gilly, we want to thank you so much for coming on the episode. It means so much to us.
No worries, boys. Thanks for having me, and just keep it up.
Of course, we can't wait to hear from you. Everybody, if you haven't already, go like and subscribe this video.
And to the channel.
We'll be back. And the channel. Yeah, go subscribe to this channel. We are now going to start doing podcasts 3 times a week. So we're going to start doing Tuesday, Friday, and Sunday with all of the sports and updates and discussions. So thank you, everybody, for listening. Gilly, thank you again. With your hosts, I'm Aiden.
And I'm Swoggle.
And we hope everybody has a happy Mother's Day. Thank you, everybody, for listening. And we'll hear from you guys in the comments and on Tuesday. Thank you.